Okay. Now transitioning back out of this toward the New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans over-under is 45.5. The Pelicans last year won 36 games, but I almost think that number is like non-representative of who they are, kind of, because after the CJ McCollum deal occurred, they were a different team last year. Also, they're getting Zion Williamson back. This is like almost purely an on paper bet to me. Yeah. Like what this roster looks like on paper. And like, look, you can say, over the last, what was it? They won like a crazy number of games over their they only went 10-10 over their last 20 games. But they went, what is it? They went like 7-5. Yeah. No, they were just like a slightly above 500 team last year.
It just felt so much better.
It felt so much better, didn't it?
It felt so much. It really did. Like as you were reading those, I was kind of surprised that they were that flat.
Yeah, and they were good against the Suns in that series too.
Yeah, I think that was part of it.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Like, I think this is just there are too many questions here for me. I'm staying away from this entirely.
Yeah,
but I think that I lean under here just because of the questions I have. Mm-hmm. Like, how does Zion Williamson fit with Jonas Valanciunas and Herb Jones, who were two of their most important players last year? Zion's obviously like incredible, and I love Zion, and like I'm all in. But like, how does that roster work around him to accentuate his skill as like the most dominant interior force in the NBA? Mm-hmm. CJ McCollum, I think, is a great fit with him. But like, if you end up with Zion and CJ and Jonas on the court together, can you put Herb on the court with those guys and make it work offensively in the way that you need him on the court to make it work defensively? Mm-hmm. I love all of the players on this team. Like literally, like I think that I have a higher opinion of every single player on this team than what the like typical consensus is. Like I love Zion. I love Trey Murphy. I love Herb Jones and loved him in the draft. Like I really like a lot of this roster quite a bit. And then obviously like, we haven't even mentioned like Brandon Ingram. Like Brandon Ingram only played 55 games last year too. So like, you're getting more minutes from Brandon Ingram probably. How does Brandon Ingram work with Zion, by the way? I think we still have some questions there. Like, I don't have a good feel for what this roster looks like. Mm-hmm. So it's just like a pure stay away from me in every regard. If you made me lean, I guess I would lean just like very slightly under. I think this ends up being like a good, solid play-in team, but I just I can't wrap my head around it. So it's a stay away from me.
Yeah. I think like I want to lean over. Like I'm with you. I think that's a stay away. Like I think I might want to lean over just because, like you said, like I do believe in a lot of these pieces. I think Willie Green's a really good coach too. I think we saw him like the way he kind of put things together on the fly last year, I think was really impressive. And I'm excited to see what he does. So I actually trust him to kind of figure out how to put some of these pieces together and get that buy-in. I think he was impressive last year. Hawks legend, Willie Green, by the way. Loved covering that guy. I'm going to lean over. I'm with you, though. I would not bet it just because there are enough questions about everything. But, like, I don't know. I could see this team winning 46, 47 games.
I could, too. I absolutely could, yeah. Like, if Zion is who we think he is, and
if Zion can ball, like, you get 65 games of Brandon Ingram instead of 55 games of Brandon Ingram. You get a full season of CJ McCollum. The thing is, they were like 1-12 out of the gate. Like,
yeah.
If they can just don't do that, then maybe we're talking about how this is a team coming. If they split those and go closer to 500 in that opening stretch, we're talking about maybe even if they go 4-8 8 or whatever. It's a 40-win team, and maybe it doesn't feel like as big of a jump. Like this, like it feels like you don't like to jump 10 wins and just like you said, it's an on paper bet because it's such a wash from last year. I feel like it would feel a little better if they hadn't absolutely been miserable to start the year. So I'll take an optimistic outlook on the Pelicans. I see everything you're saying, but I love their dudes. I think they have the depth to navigate some injuries now. Like I think in the way they didn't, like you can run, like if CJ's out, if CJ needs to sit out, like you can get Trey Murphy some shots up. Like you can get him some opportunity on the ball a little bit too. I want to see that a little more. And I think the fact that you have 3 guys now that can have the ball at 3 different parts of the court allows you to be pretty variable. And the fact that you have CJ, you have Brandon, and you have Zion, like you can be pretty varied in how you attack defenses. And I think that's going to be a fun thing to watch because those guys score at 3 very different levels. Like CJ and Brandon occupy a little bit of the same space, but in different ways in the mid range. But like the way Zion pressures the rim, I think opens up so much else for the rest of them. I'll be a little optimist. Let's say 46 wins for the Pelicans and a slight lean over, but I'm not locking it up.
Like, is it out of the question that they have 2 top 20 guys in the NBA next year in Zion and Brandon Ingram?
I don't think so. I've been, and
if Brandon takes a leap, like that's not out of the question. I don't think.
Like, could Brandon Ingram take a step towards being last year's Jason Tatum offensively?
Yeah, probably.
Like I think that like defensively, he's not as big and he's not as physical and strong. Like he's not like soft, but he just doesn't have as much mass. But like offensively, like I think if you're looking for where Brandon Ingram, like what that leap looks like, it's Tatum last year.
Well, it's the shooting. It's the pull-up shooting. Like he needs to be a better pull-up shooter in the way that Jason got to be just like totally lethal as a pull-up 3-point shooter. Like if Brandon would have that, it'd be gross. He shot 33% from 3 last year, though. Didn't take like a crazy amount of them. But that's like the next part of his game. He's a great passer. He's obviously just incredible at using his length to get into that mid-range area and shoot over the top of guys. And he's a great mid-post player. Like I love Brandon. I think I'm very, very high on Brandon.
Yeah,
but
he's impressed me. Like, I mean, like really, like coming to New Orleans, it was kind of like what is this guy exactly, and what role does he play? And I think last year the most impressive thing, especially in that playoff series, was like he's doing it on a good team. That was always the is he a looter in a riot situation? Is he just piling up points on bad teams? And he went out there and he was efficient in that playoff series, and he was a killer in a couple of those games against the Suns. Like they just had no answers for him.
Yeah. And I think he's a stud. I'm a big Brandon Ingram fan.
I want to see it more. And I'll buy in on the Pelicans. We both were kind of out on them last year. The Zion stuff was spooky with the foot and all that. But look, the CJ trade, I was not sure about it when they made it. Worked out great. Good on them.
Yeah. I think that I lean just slightly under, but like this is the most variable number to me. You could tell me the team wins 50 games and I wouldn't be surprised. I just personally can't wrap my head around what it looks like right now.
I think
I need
I'll
to
say this. I think I look at them in a similar light as the Mavs. They just don't have Luka. Like, right. I think in terms of like, how are you fitting all of these pieces together? But I also think I have fewer questions about the supporting cast than Dallas.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Like they just don't have Luka. Like, it's just like, so I would put them, I would put New Orleans and Dallas. I think they're in a similar tier for me in terms of wins. It's that same 46-47 win expectation, which is why Dallas I was a little under. And New Orleans, I'll go a little, I think they're very similar teams. It's just obviously the Luka factor can throw a whole lot off.